Hello and welcome to Exploited Crimes and Technology. My name is Opal Singleton and we come to you every Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock right here on AM 590, The Answer. Well, I want to have a little fun with you and get you to thinking this weekend. I really want to talk about cell phone addiction and social media addiction, and I'm no better than you, so trust me, this is not going to be a lecture. Maybe it'll be a self-help program. Who knows? We all need it. Anyway, before we get started today, I want to remind all of you that the election is right around the corner. And we are not a political show, so we don't take a particular position, and nor should we, probably. But I do want you to think long and hard before you vote this weekend. If you haven't, this following week, if you have not, make sure you know about the people that you're going to vote for. Those judges, look them up, look up their history before you make those decisions. Do some research on the people that you're about to vote for. I say that because this show normally is about combating sex crimes and all kinds of crimes, but especially child sex crimes, things like sextortion and social media exploitation. And we have some real important people coming up, our sheriff, our DA, and a lot of our city council people and people who make decisions about legislation, assemblymen and congressmen and like that. So make sure you know who you vote for. I think that personally, and I'm not endorsing anybody, but I think Riverside County has been very, very blessed for the most part to have leadership in both our law enforcement and our district attorney to combat child sex crimes. This state has a long history, especially in the last few years, of trying to minimize what is going on in child sex crimes, number one, and to let a lot of people out early that will return hardcore sex offenders to your area. These are people outside of Riverside County that believe that people shouldn't have to serve the long sentences and should get out early. And I've been very, very proud of our leadership in Riverside County, in the sheriff department and the DA and our prosecutors and many of our judges, of standing firm on that kind of thing and saying that anybody who harms a child ought to pay a price, and it ought to be a long price. And I'm very, very grateful for that. So I just want to throw that out there to you. Please vote and give it a lot of thought. This is a time in our lives where we get a chance to be heard and have our opinion heard. So with that, I want to lighten up a little bit. A lot of times we come on kind of strong, and maybe I will before it's over. But I've been talking to my husband about all that's going on in technology. I'm known for my years of research of child sex crimes, but also in technology. And I've been studying this stuff that's going on about metaverse and how our kids are going to live in a submersed technology world that's just insane. And so I want to just kind of share some of the stuff, some thoughts I have along the way. I looked up what metaverse is going to be like, and I specifically looked up the deal where they have these mass audience live streaming concerts in metaverse. And all the money that promoters are making out there, Justin Bieber is the last one, and there's several of them in there. And one of the things that I see is a level of entrepreneurialism that's going on that's kind of exciting for our young people, but it's also a little bit scary because one of the things they had, it was Pokemon, but the one before Pokemon, I can't think of what it was now. And they had 11 million simultaneous players on there. And, they're selling all kinds of things. And did you know you can actually invest in those? And you can actually buy the coins. I'll get you that term here after the break. I've already forgotten what it is, but it's coins that you can actually invest in. And our kids are using those coins. I think it's called NFT, non-fungible tokens. That's what the word I'm looking for. It's not a word I normally keep on the top of my head, non-fungible token. Anyway, an NFT. And you can invest in those, and they sell specific tokens for specific concerts. And it was really interesting to watch all of this and from an investment point of view. And so you buy the non fungible token that can only be used at the Pokemon concert or the Pokemon concert or the Justin Bieber concert. And it's fascinating because they're selling real life merchandise with your NFTs, but they're also selling a lot of emojis and emotes, they call them. And it's fascinating to see this generation investing so much money in something that you don't hold in your hand. It's just something online. I remember when everybody was buying Beanie Babies, and before that you had baseball cards, but you had something in your hand. But this generation's going to buy into these emojis that you just send off to let your favorite singer know that you enjoy them and like that. So everything's done online, and I was kind of studying the emotional satisfaction that our kids get in participating in one of these kinds of events. And the same kind of thing because they make their own TikTok video and they want them to go viral. They want, the purpose of a TikTok video is to get 5 million followers or 1 million followers and start to be an influencer out there in what people are watching. And all of this has some sort of emotional satisfaction to it, in addition to the actual activity. And these kids get so caught up in it. And my husband and I were talking about it this weekend as we went out to dinner. And both of us are sitting there holding our phone. Hello. We're on a nice dinner with each other. And we're holding our phone looking at, some Facebook posting, or in my case, I actually get TikTok videos that you see and those reels that they post. And the restaurant that we're at, we're receiving the notification of the big special of the day. And it's kind of fun to watch, but it's also kind of interesting to see how emotionally attached we all are to a phone. You may have heard me say this before, but I never forget one time being over at Mimi's restaurant, and there must have been 12 people at that table next to us. And they were obviously taking grandma out for what appeared to be her birthday. And, 11 of those people were on the phone, and you could just see grandma sitting there steaming away because no one is talking to her. And you can tell she got all excited. She got all dressed up. She can't wait to hear about her grandchildren's life, maybe her great grandchildren's life. And nobody is paying attention. And I could almost see her rewriting her will, as she's sitting there going, you don't care about me. I'm not going to care about you. Watch this when you all show up and find out what you're about to inherit. Maybe you're going to inherit another cell phone, and that's it. Who knows? But it's fascinating. I was reading as I was preparing for this. I'm amazed. There's actually terminology that we need to learn, like nomophobia. Nomophobia. That means no mobile phone phobia. Okay. I read one from Sydney, Australia, about how technology is affecting our relationships and our sex lives. And it says this person was talking to a couple who complained that their partner are always reading text messages or checking social media. They've only been married 6 months. Hello. Says his wife always has her iPhone nearby and sometimes even answers it while they're having sex. Hello. He feels he's second best. Wonder why that would be. And he's angry and disappointed. Well, no kidding. Hello. Then I start to read in this. It's not difficult to believe that people touch their smartphone more than they touch their partners. Now that tells you that you need to have some counseling. What does it say if your partner prefers your Facebook or Twitter account instead of joining you in the bedroom? Well, I could probably fill that in for you, but I bet you could fill that in for yourself, quite frankly. Well, then I started looking up some research, and it turns out that a lot of people actually respond to the cell phone in the middle of an intimate action. As many as 25% out of the UK and 10% out of Australia. Now that, I'm telling you, is a little bit much. I don't know if they're looking for a new partner or checking the stock market or looking at webcam sex or, if they think they won the lottery. But, if you're answering the phone in the middle of a private encounter, you probably need to take a look about whether or not you are addicted to your cell phone because it's getting a little crazy there, I think. They said over in a British poll, this is an older poll, 25% of people admitted to answering a call while doing the deed. That's 1 in 4, with men being the biggest offenders, 3 times more likely than women to halt action between the sheets in order to grab their cell phones. So 94% of those polled admitted to having their cell phone with them all the time. And so as they began to look at this, I began to start to try to figure out what is happening in our society and what are we going to do about it, because we're just getting started and we're the old codgers. Okay. So what happens when we get into this with our teenagers and they're just getting started? Hey, we're up against that break, so stay with us and we'll be right back.
Listen up, folks. You no longer have to drive out of the IE for a great restaurant experience. The Toasted Barrel, an upscale casual steakhouse located in Corona, has been winning award after award for their great diverse menu, service, ambience, wine, and cocktails. Customers call the Barrel the perfect date night. Inland Empire Magazine has awarded them Best Restaurant 4 years in a row. Wine Spectator recognized the Toasted Barrel's wine program for their award of excellence. Toasted Barrel is famous for their certified Angus beef, prime, Wagyu, and Kobe steaks, and they have some of the best pasta and seafood around. With happy hour and daily specials every day of the week, their appetizers and drink selections are the best around. Live music starts every Friday and Saturday at 5:30. Planning a dinner party, wedding rehearsal, family gathering, or holiday party? Look up Toasted Barrel online and make your reservation today.
Hello, this is Opal Singleton of Exploited Crimes and Technology. I want to tell you about a book I wrote called Seduced, The Grooming of America's Teenagers. It's all about how predators access, groom, recruit, and exploit our young people using social media, online gaming, video chat rooms. Technology is changing at the speed of light, and we have to understand how to keep our kids safe from predators. So you can get this book by going to www.millionkids.org. It's $16. I'll sign it and I'll ship it to you personally. We hope that you will order this book, educate yourself about how to keep our kids safe in this day of changing technology. Join us each Saturday for our radio show at Exploited Crimes and Technology at 3 o'clock on AM 590, The Answer.
Real estate sales in the Inland Empire are really hot. Sellers and buyers recognize that these low interest rates will not last. Sean and Colleen at Caldwell Banker Armstrong Properties in Riverside are proud to sponsor this show. They are the best in the Inland Empire. They're fair, honest, creative, and they care about you and your situation. If you're in the market to buy or sell a home, call Sean and Colleen at 951-529-4066.
AM 590, The Answer.
Hello and welcome back to Exploited Crimes and Technology. This is Opal Singleton and we're talking about, are you addicted to your cell phone? Are you addicted to social media? Are you addicted to selfies? Are you addicted to Facebook? Hello. Well, before I get deep into that, I wanted to take it a different direction because one of the things that I've noticed in the last year is how sophisticated the gambling world has become. Now, I don't spend a lot of time at casinos, so I'm really not an expert to tell you this stuff. But one of the things that I started to realize is that the impact of technology, for instance, on gambling and gambling addiction. And I say that because coming up in the fall ballot in our voting will be a bill about online sports betting. And should it be allowed to the general public? Because that would mean the corporations will be coming in from the outside of California and providing you with sports betting online. And that means that that money isn't going to be going right now. The betting that takes place is usually with your casinos like San Manuel and Pachanga, your Indian casinos, and that money, a large portion of it stays right here in California. But if they provide that online gambling kind of scenario on sports gambling, and it's just a step away to go do regular online gambling, and of course, a lot of your football things that take place now already get you in that direction. And I thought to myself, well, if they do allow that, will they bring in all the bells and whistles that you're currently seeing in a casino? Now, it's been probably a year, maybe 8 months since I've been in a casino, and I don't spend much time there. At the time, we were on a vacation with some friends. But it was fascinating to me as I walked around to see people and the gambling that takes place. This tells you about me. I remember the 25-cent machines, and you spent 75 cents, and that was it. But now they have the penny machines, and the penny machines are really $3, $5, and $6 and $10 machines. And you start in there, and they have all the stuff that goes with them, buffalo, kind of thing. And then you see the coins follow down. And it was my observation that most people couldn't tell if they were winning or losing, or they put in $3 and they won $1.80, but they're all excited about the fact that they won because the sounds and the music and the money flying and all the artistry of the different kinds of things like buffaloes and characters and like that are in there that make you believe that you're winning. And so I did some research on it. And they're saying that the developers have incorporated all these slot machines to appeal with nudges and interaction on there. They bring in music and sound effects. And so you most likely pick a machine, not because you think it's going to win or not win, but you like the music, or you like the buffaloes, or you like the duckies, or you like the whatever, the dancing girls, whatever it is they're doing in there. So that makes them a lot more fun to play. I say that because I've been looking at our online kids games and these games that I was talking about with the metaverse, where you can simultaneously play some of the Fortnite games. They had 11 million players. And one of the things that I'm seeing in these games is, no wonder our kids get addicted. The parents get addicted in this thing because they put in all kinds of animated sex. And that kind of bothers me a little bit because a lot of our kids are prepubescent, or they're just going through puberty, and they're seeing a lot of sex, and it isn't sex with a relationship. It's sex in a video game that's hot and unrealistic, quite frankly, and sometimes even a weapon or violence and sex. And I watch all of this as these kids become more and more addicted into their online game playing. Now, there's some psychological things that go on there in that kind of game playing. It says some developers, I'm reading from an article, and this will all be on my website. Some developers have incorporated music and sound effects to create a sense of fun in these slot machines. So you get a positive experience, you get an uplifting experience, you get a dopamine experiences, quite frankly, regardless of whether you're winning or losing. So that keeps you playing. If you didn't have all that, just imagine if you didn't have the sounds going on, if you didn't have the music going on, if you didn't have all the animation going on, and you lost 3 times in a row and it was very quiet, wouldn't you normally just walk away and go, this isn't much fun? But you like the music and you like the interaction, and it's the experience that you are craving. So it gives you this idea that you're having a positive experience. It triggers a pleasurable emotion within the player, causes them to suspend usual judgment. No kidding, okay? Because you're not dealing with reality. You get bonus features and game elements, and developers generate what players perceive to be an exciting environment. And the slot games are usually, this is something I never knew before until I started researching this. The sound effects in slot games are generally played in the C key, which has been proven to generate feelings of positivity within humans. Isn't that fascinating? Other effects, such as coins dropping and flashing lights, add to the general sense of accomplishment. It isn't the machine doing it, you're doing it. You're experiencing success, and it has to do with your smartness and your engagement on it. So as you start to look through this, they say the sounds are used as a way to give you positive vibes into a player's mindset. And I'd be willing to bet you that if they're using some of the sounds with someone you really like, for instance, like in Fortnite, you have certain things that you feel loyal to, that you want to support, and you're going to stay on there. From coins dropping into a metal tray, which of course aren't really happening, they're just giving you that sound on the screen, to the immersive effects of the modern online slots, play a hugely important role in game playing experiences. So if you look at all the changes that have taken place in the old Minecraft, which was pretty basic compared to things like the games that the kids are now playing, like Fortnite, and even more PUBG, the battleground games, you get wide amounts of winning songs and a sense of music playing in there. I was talking to a therapist that often comes and participates in my training. She's from Sydney, Australia, and very smart lady. And she has done a lot of research and is concerned about the fact that we're not only immersing our kids in this false sense of reality, but we're combining sex and violence with it at the same time, which equates to success. And it's in a shared environment with other people. So as this began to go on, they began to find physical traits, such as the fact that your heart rate speeds up in this kind of thing. You have a psychological reaction. They're saying you have sweaty palms, faster heart rate, dilation of pupils as they begin to watch, especially in slot machines. Some of the most bizarre findings was the importance that some players placed on the music and sound effects that actually thought that improved their chances of winning the game. They discovered that some players were unconcerned with the risk elements based on that experience. Attraction to slot machines and memory for winning can be influenced by factors other than the amount of money won on a slot machine, and people should be aware of it. So as we began to look at this, one of the things that I wanted to look at is this, how dopamine signals in your brain. And I'm going to tell you it does. It does whether you're playing a slot machine, or it does whether or not you're just checking your cell phone to see if somebody liked what you posted on Facebook, these selfies in there, because these dopamine signals are neurotransmitters that are associated with pleasure. I'm no better than anybody else, folks. I am on vacation. I post a great photo and I wait to see who comments. Now, that's the old-fashioned version of immediate feedback. But it was Sean Parker who talked about that social media validation feedback loop. And we're all deep into it. Even grandmas are deep into it. I have a good friend who's 86, and she texts her grandkids, her great grandkids off at college. And, she can't wait to see if they just even give her an emoji, a thumbs up, a grin on there. And that has to do with that neurotransmitter associated with pleasure. Your brain identifies this activity as rewarding, one that you ought to repeat, such as a reaction by being more felt when you make a post of your own and gain positive feedback. Hey, we're like rats in a maze, folks. They got us trained. So we're up against that break. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Societal Shift, A World Without Borders and a Home Without Walls. This is the most important book you will read this year, especially if you have children or grandchildren. We are living at the most important time in all of history. In 2020, the entire world will be connected by internet, more than 6 billion people coming together. Technology will provide many great advantages for our kids, but a world without borders for our kids is also a world without borders for pimps, predators, pedophiles, cartels, and organized crime. It is a home without walls because 87% of the kids sleep with their phone. It is the greatest societal experiment of all time. Our kids are technology geniuses. and their parents are technophobic. Some are techno-impotent. New apps come with no warnings on how a predator will use them against our kids. Advancing technologies like encrypted messaging, vaporware, artificial intelligence, cryptocurrency, and the dark net will challenge law enforcement, teachers, and parents to keep kids safe. Recent research states that 9,000 kids a day are being blackmailed with a naked photo, and 58% will meet their predator. It is indeed a societal shift, and one in which most parents are unprepared. If you are a parent or grandparent, teacher, counselor, or social worker, please take time to read Societal Shift. Only $18.99 plus $6 shipping. Order today at millionkids.org. That's millionkids, millionkids.org. It'll be the greatest gift you can give your family and yourself. Order Societal Shift today. Million Kids takes checks and credit cards. Opal Singleton, the author, will personally sign the book and send it to you. Again, go to millionkids.org and order Societal Shift today. Join Million Kids. Keep our kids safe from predators.
Hello and welcome back to Exploited, Crimes and Technology. My name is Opal Singleton, and we're having some fun today just to take a look at ourselves and go, what the heck are we doing? What are we doing to ourselves, and what are we doing to our kids? And what are they going to be like on the next generation as this just gets crazier and crazier? So what happens here is when you log on to an app or a video game, or you post on Facebook, if you're an old codger like myself, if you do that sort of thing, or if you're in a video game chat room and you're going back and forth and you're sharing all of that stuff, or you're buying emojis to be part of this, worldwide thing with 11 million other people, your dopamine signals are going wild. So as the feel-good dopamine wears off, well, then you go back to the source, whatever it was. We're like Pavlov's dog, if you're old enough to know what that is. I'm not sure the younger kids know, but, it's a response mechanism. So social media becomes a welcome distraction from our real life. And I think that was really, really true during the lockdown. We saw pedophilia, by the way, just explode around the world as people had time on their hands. They were depressed. They were isolated, their anxiety level went up, and they spent more time online connecting with people like themselves. And the thing that makes that so challenging for all of us right now is so did our kids. And so you have more and more kids online looking for that immediate release, that satisfaction, that self-approval that you get from sending a text out there. So the more you engage, the more your brain will tell you that this activity can help reduce loneliness, which you may not even be aware that you're feeding a hole in your soul called loneliness or low self-esteem or isolation, more often boredom, anxiety, depression kind of thing. There's a term our kids sometimes use, FOMO, fear of missing out, which can lead to even more social media usage because you think everybody else is out talking to somebody, but I'm not getting a text back. Disrupted sleep pattern, getting up in the middle of the night to text. They say that 83% of teenagers sleep with their phone. I'd like to find out how many of their parents do also out there. So you have decreased physical activity. By the way, one of the cures is to put the phone away for an hour or two and then go do some physical activity, breathe the air, look at the sky, talk to each other in person, experience those emotions. That is one of the things that I'm concerned about, is that will we be able to know ourselves well and be able to share from the heart what happens with other people? Because this generation is all about performance in their communication, making sure they have 1 million followers or 500,000 followers. That's a lot different than sitting down one-on-one with someone and talking about what you really feel. There is a suggestion that this generation may lack empathy as much as the last generation because there's less of that kind of one-on-one discussion that shares what intimacy is all about. And I do believe that there probably will be an impact on intimacy. We're already seeing it when they answer the phone in the middle of the deal. Hello. That kind of kills intimacy right there, doesn't it? We're seeing negative effects on job and schoolwork sometimes when you see increased activity where they're hanging out with friends. And of course, there's this whole thing of being available to be recruited. But we also see kids that get a lot of time online. They become restless, irritable. Their anger level goes up much, much quicker. We find people, you're in trouble when you're thinking about your game or your social media when you're not even using it. They may neglect friendships or hobbies. They may neglect personal hygiene, have an inability to set time limits on how much they gain. By the way, this isn't just our kids. My husband and I laugh all the time. He loves to play bridge online. I love to play free cell. I have a friend of mine that likes to play what is it that she plays? I forgot. But anyway, whenever we get, if we're waiting in line somewhere, I go to my game, entertain myself. Okay. And there is something interesting about gaming, especially word games and things like that. It keeps you smarter, it introduces new ideas and stuff to you. But if you find yourself going to that game more than you're doing any other kind of activity, maybe we should take a look. So there's this word called nomophobia. I learned this while I was studying for this particular show. Nomophobia is a word for the fear of and anxiety caused by not having a working mobile phone. This is a riot. How many times did you not go to bed yet because you don't know where you put your phone, and you want to charge that darn thing up, or you actually get out into the car and you start down the driveway and you realize you don't have your phone, and you're saying that you all of a sudden have this fear of losing contact with the world, and I think it's hysterical when we start to understand this. That is a problematic digital media use and mental health, they say. The use of mobile phones has increased substantially. We're now something like in the US, something like 93% connected. Now, I got those numbers over the weekend, but it's a term that started out way back in 2008 when they realized that people just panicked when they didn't have a phone. This is a UK post office study. The study said that 53% of mobile phone users in Britain tend to be anxious when they lose their mobile phone. I think that number's low. It's probably more like 98%. Or if they run out of battery. Oh my gosh. How do you deal with that when you didn't charge it up last night and now it's running out of battery? Okay, so they say men are more likely to suffer from this phobia than women. I love that. Feel superior there, do we? Anyway, they're saying that 2 out of 3 people sleep with or next to their smartphones. 34% admitted to answering their cell phone during intimacy. This is a study. 1 in 5 would rather go without shoes for a week than take a break from their phone. More than half never switched their phone off. Okay, that's when you've gone from heavy using to addiction, by the way. And a full 66% agree that they are nomophobic. Then they begin to take in other terms such as compulsive phone use, when a person feels compelled to use their cell phone in excess, and textrophrenia, the fear of being unable to receive or send texts. And I looked up textrophrenia. It's an unusual disease found in teenagers. Now, this is hysterical to me. This is an India study, but you got to be kidding me. It isn't just teenagers. Now, I get that teenagers don't email, they text. They want that instant feedback on there, and they get into texting contests and these kind of things where they text for like 48 straight hours and wake up in the middle of the night so that they can make sure that they can compete in this. So they had a study here about the feedback of this. Approximately 60% of the youth feel the habit had started affecting their studies. on there when no reply is received from your text. Oh my gosh, that is frustrating. 55% of youth get upset when 32% feel rejected because you didn't text right back, assuming there's absolutely no one for them and nobody wants to be in touch with them. Approximately 93% turns restless when they don't get a response from their text message. And it says that 41% of youth keep checking their cell phone, hoping for a reply for their text message. So, it really is, as Sean Parker said, a social validation feedback loop as they began to get into this thing. So it's kind of an interesting thing that is taking place, the way our society is changing. I saw a couple of cartoons and I thought the wife is saying to the husband, do you mind if I strap your phone to my forehead so we can pretend you're looking at me when we talk? And the other one said, I am so not addicted to my smartphone because I have an app that warns me if I'm turning into an addict and it hasn't gone off yet. I don't think you need an app. If you're answering the phone during your private time, you probably have a problem and you probably need to start to look at this. It is no secret that all of us look at phones as a way of getting an emotional lift, a way of feeling involved and somebody caring about us and feeling a sense of self-worth. So we are up against that break. We're going to close this out here in a minute. So I'm going to ask you to stay with us and we're going to be right back.
Custom Service Systems, a proud supporter of Million Kids, is a family-owned and operated commercial cleaning company servicing the Inland Empire and surrounding areas since 1974. CSS takes pride in their ability to maintain the business facilities they serve and their long-lasting relationships with their valued clients. CSS provides a variety of cleaning systems customized to client needs, including deep cleaning and disinfectant to be COVID-19 compliant. From basic office cleaning to windows and floors, CSS will clean up your mess so you don't have to stress. Custom Service Systems cares about families and communities and wants to give back. Custom Service Systems are proud supporters of Million Kids to keep kids safe from predators. If you need the best cleaning services for your business or corporation, contact Custom Service Systems at cssclean.com. Again, cssclean.com or call 951-781-9345. That's 951-781-9345. You will know you found the best. Custom Service Systems.
Hello, this is Opal Singleton of Exploited Crimes and Technology. Let me tell you about my friend Doris Anderson at Remax Realty in Upland. She is amazing. She's kind, she's patient, but she listens. And she's informed, and she will help you with your real estate transaction in a way that works for you. Doris, in full disclosure, often supports the work of Million Kids because she cares about young people. But she knows how to analyze a market, how to market a property, and how to find just the right transaction for both buyers and sellers. If you're looking to buy or sell real estate or invest in income property, contact Doris Anderson at Remax Realty 951-733-8899. That's 951-733-8899. 951-733-8899.
This message is all about Million Kids, the organization that helps locate missing kids throughout Southern California and educates to keep kids safe from predators. Million Kids educates school administrators, teachers, parents, and teenagers how predators identify a potential victim and the methods they use to recruit innocent kids. BMW of Riverside is a proud supporter of Million Kids. Visit BMW of Riverside at the Adams Street exit off the 91 freeway or click bmwofriverside.com.
AM 590, The Answer.
Hello and welcome back to Exploited Crimes and Technology. My name is Opal Singleton, and we're having a lot of fun today just thinking about life without a cell phone. It makes me, absolutely panic thinking about that. I often talk to parents about this because, we're just getting started. This is the year the entire world will be connected by internet. And all of this technology is just getting so advanced. You have all of these, the different sounds when your phone rings or when you get a text. And And literally, we all stop when somebody gets a text. Is that your text? My text. It's just like we are really, really programmed. And so are our children. And as this gets more subversive and more addictive, we need to stop and think about that with our children. I often recommend to parents that you have that dialogue, that you're no different than them. But what happens with our kids is that puts them online a lot of time to meet strangers who are going to make offers to them that your child is going to have enough confidence, enough sense of self-worth, enough cognitive thinking to be able to stand against the fact that they are living in this automatic digital world and they will receive offers from people who want something bad for them. So how do we teach our kids to stand against this? I often tell parents, pick a night, one night. Easy for me to say, okay. But everybody come home about 6, 7 o'clock and take your phones. Maybe you come home at 5 and you put them in a metal box, all of you, and you lock it. And you take it out to your car trunk and lock it in the car trunk. So nobody can get that dopamine fix about that text coming in, about that sound, or that game being played off in the distance that your kid can't play. And sit down and look at each other eye to eye and introduce yourselves to each other. What do you like about each other? What do you don't like about each other? What are your dreams? What are your fears? And you start to have an old-fashioned evening away from that device and talk about how it makes you feel. Does it make you anxious? Does it make you sad? Does it make you fearful? Do you think you're missing out on something? What do you think you're missing out on? And what if you are missing out on that? Are you going to be okay without it? And you see, because we don't even think about it, it's just like the slot machines at the casino. It's those sounds that sneak in on our lives. I think about that because of the Internet of Things. All of our appliances are wired with something. And now we have Alexas and Alexa, and you have Siri talking in your life that are giving you opinions and directions. And then if you watch TV, you have some news reporter that tells you what you just heard because you're not capable of figuring out what you just heard all by yourself. So this is an interesting, kind of an experiment to try. I would encourage you to have that conversation. I was looking at something from Harvard. They're saying that if you misplace your phone, you have a mild state of panic. They say 73% of people claim to experience anxiety, which makes you consider that U.S. Adults spend an average of 2 to 4 hours a day tapping, typing, or swiping a device, more than 2,600 daily touches. So you're not thinking about your senses and the impact on the phone. Is the sound, it's the feel, it's the security, it's the tapping as you communicate. I often have this conversation with friends of mine. Every now and then I'll walk into a room and I'll smell something. And it's always amazing to me how that goes into my memory bank. Now, I haven't touched anything. I haven't had a vision of anything, but suddenly I have the smell of my mom's gooseberry cobbler. I'm from the Midwest, okay? But, or her goulash. And you'll see that and you'll say, oh, that reminds me when I was 6. And memory, you have memory in your senses. And the same thing with when you touch a particular fabric that might stimulate a memory of something, or you will see a piece of glass that was maybe your grandma's, and it brings you back to a particular time. Well, it is exactly those kinds of senses interacting electronically of where we're at today. And one of the things that concerns me about that is that it isn't a true intimate feeling. It isn't a connection with another human being. And so I think that our kids are missing out on something, and that has to do with quiet time. Quiet time as a family to go for a walk on the beach, walk in the neighborhood where you talk about a bird that you see or a cloud that you experienced or maybe something that happened today that gave you a sense of anxiety or feeling excited. And you talk about knowing who you are as a person without the technology. We all have our faults. We're all addicted to it. But I think that one of the most important things we need to do as human beings is have that personal connection to each other, whether it's with your spouse, where you put that stuff away and you actually talk about what you like and what you don't like and what you feel and what you experience and your hopes and your dreams and your expectations. And talk with our children. I thought about that this week as we had that tragedy in Texas. And I thought, share with your children how important they are to you and talk about what their good points are. What's their strong suit? Do they make you laugh? It's one thing to say that after the fact, oh, they all made us laugh. But did that child know that they made us laugh? Let's take the time we have today to help our children get to know who they are without technology. And by the way, mom and dad, let's get to know each other without technology and grandma and grandpa. I admire all these people who go out there that are 50, 70, 80 years old, are trying to figure out how to make this work so they can communicate with their kids. But don't ever forget, on the other side of that is a human being who cares about you, who's so proud of you, who wants to do right by you. And if you take her to dinner for her birthday, for Pete's sake, put that phone down and tell her how much you love her, okay? This is going to be an interesting world, but it is up to us as parents to draw that line in the sand. Technology should work for us. We shouldn't be working for the technology. And it's that simple. Take the time to talk to each other's soul, to let each other know how important and how valuable they are, and especially your children, because they're going to start to interact with people who want to tell them in a false way how important they are. And the way that we combat that is we lay the groundwork first. We believe in them and they believe in themselves. And they are strong individuals, and they are strong enough to put that technology once a week in a can and put it away, as we all do. I hope this show has been helpful to all of you. This is a crazy life we're living. None of us could have made this up 20 years ago when this was all coming out, or 30 years ago, that you would have 11 million people with headsets on out there paying for absolutely artwork online that means absolutely nothing but feeling good about it because they like the music and they're looking for that feedback. And so we're all vulnerable to it. And I appreciate that. We need to make technology make us better people. My name is Opal Singleton, and this show is brought to you by Million Kids. If you want to support this work financially, we'd encourage you to do that. Trust me, we could use it. We're in the middle of a lot of projects. We're the people that take the calls sometimes when someone's been trafficked or they're getting blackmailed online. And the way that we are able to do that is that good people like yourself donate to us. So if you're willing to do that, go to millionkids.org, MILLION, millionkids.org. Hit that donate button or send us a check. I'm old-fashioned enough still to go to the post office and cash those checks. And I appreciate each and every one of you. I want to remind you to vote this week, regardless of who you vote for. That is a special right as Americans, and we don't want to ever overlook that privilege. When I see the people in the Ukraine, my heart bleeds, and I think how precious this idea of living in a free country and being able to say whatever you want to say, and hopefully doing it with consideration of each other, that this is a special blessing, and I appreciate each and every one of you. So I'm going to ask you this week, put your arms around your kids, take those cell phones and put them away just for a couple of minutes one night, okay? And we'll see you next Saturday at 3 o'clock on AM 590, The Answer.
Societal Shift, A World Without Borders and a Home Without Walls. This is the most important book you will read this year, especially if you have children or grandchildren. We are living at the most important time in all of history. In 2020, the entire world will be connected by internet, more than 6 billion people coming together. Technology will provide many great advantages for our kids, but a world without borders for our kids is also a world without borders for pimps, predators, pedophiles, cartels, and organized crime. It is a home without walls because 87% of the kids sleep with their phone. It is the greatest societal experiment of all time. Our kids are technology geniuses, and their parents are technophobic. Some are techno-impotent. New apps come with no warnings on how a predator will use them against our kids. Advancing technologies like encrypted messaging, vaporware, artificial intelligence, cryptocurrency, and the dark net will challenge law enforcement, teachers, and parents to keep kids safe. Recent research states that 9,000 kids a day are being blackmailed with a naked photo, and 58% will meet their predator. It is indeed a societal shift, and one in which most parents are unprepared. If you are a parent or grandparent, teacher, counselor, or social worker, please take time to read Societal Shift. Only $18.99 plus $6 shipping. Order today at millionkids.org. That's millionkids, millionkids.org. It'll be the greatest gift you can give your family and yourself. Order Societal Shift today. Million Kids takes checks and credit cards. Opal Singleton, the author, will personally sign the book and send it to you. Again, go to millionkids.org and order Societal Shift today. Join Million Kids. Keep our kids safe from predators.